Hi everyone, hope you are doing well. My name is Amit. In this video, we will analyze paper of UPSC Mains 2022 for polity section. I have divided question according to their sources. First, we will discuss about question which we can answer by the knowledge of M. Lakshmikant Bose. Then after, question which we require the knowledge of same both with the other material. And in the last one, we will discuss the question which require much more knowledge from other sources. And I also divided questions in the static and static with the current affairs material, so we can analyze the paper more comprehensively. To understand the level of the paper, I divided the question in the three category: easy, medium, or difficult one. Easy question are which can be covered by any single source like the M. Lakshmikant or any famous current affairs magazine, and the syllabus clearly mention about these topics. The medium one is in which we require knowledge of the more than one sources, and difficult one is which are not covered in the regular sources. In this question we require more critical analysis. Let's start our discussion. First question is: right of movement and residence throughout the territory of India are freely available to Indian citizens, but these rights are not absolute. If anyone read the Indian Polity by M. Lakshmikant Bose, in the Fundamental Rights chapter, there is a Article 19 which talks about the right of movement and residence, and there is also mentioned the reasonable restriction. So if anyone read this chapter, he or she can easily answer this question. So and this from the static material, so I classified as a static question. And in syllabus point of view, there is a clear mention of the Indian Constitution, features, amendment, and significant provisions. So this question comes from this point of syllabus. The next question is: discuss the role of Vice President of India as a chairman of Rajya Sabha. If anyone read the Vice President chapter and the Parliament chapter, he or she can easily answer this type of question. And in the syllabus, there is also mentioned the Parliament functioning and conduct of the business. As it come from the static portion of the book, so I classified as a static one. And as we can easily cover this question by the M. Lakshmikant book, so I classified this question as a easy one. Next question: discuss the role of National Commission for Backward Classes in the wake of its transformation from a statutory body to constitutional body. In last year, the similar question was asked for the National Commission for Women's. This time they are asking for the National Commission for Backward Classes. And in syllabus, there is clear mention the appointment to various constitutional bodies, powers, function and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies. So I classify as a easy question, as if anyone read the National Commission for Backward Classes chapter in the M. Lakshmikant book, he or she can easily answer this type of question. And as it come from the static material, so we can classify as a static question. The next question is: discuss the essential condition for exercise of legislative power by the governor. Discuss the legality of re-promulgation of ordinances by the governor without placing them before the legislature. The first part of this question, which is talking about the legislative powers, is given in the governor chapter. In the second part, the re-promulgation is given in the president chapter. So if anyone read these governor and president chapter from M. Lakshmikant book, he or she can easily answer this type of question. From syllabus point of view, there is a mention of functioning of executive. So as this question from the static material, and one can answer by knowledge of M. Lakshmikant. So we can classify this question as a easy one. The next question is, discuss the role of National Commission of India in the light of evolution of the Model Code of Conduct. As in our country, we see frequently the election of parliament or the state legislature. So my election commission is very frequent in news. M. Lakshmikant Booth is also talk about election commission, its power and roles. But for the model code of conduct, we require some knowledge from other sources. So we can classify as this question as a static one, and we can answer this question from the M. Lakshmikant book. So we can classify this question as a easy one. And syllabus point of view, the similar point, the appointment to constitutional bodies and their power and functions. Next question is, critically examine the procedure through which the President of India and France are elected. Recently, we seen the election of the President of India and the France. So these two elections are very frequent in the news. So this question can be answered by the knowledge of static one plus current affairs. Static knowledge about the election of the president we can acquire from the M. Lakshmikant book. And in syllabus there is a clear mention the comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with that of other country. So we are expected to cover this type of question which are very frequently in the news. So we can classify as a easy one because the major current affairs magazine covered this question. Now we will discuss questions which require knowledge from the other sources and knowledge of Indian polity, while Lakshmikant is not sufficient at all. In this category, the first question is, discuss the procedure to decide the dispute arising out of election of a member of parliament or state legislature under the Representation of People's Act. What are grounds on which the election of any written candidate may be declared void? What remedies is available to the aggrieved party against the decision? Refer the case laws. As in Representation of People's Act is mentioned in the M. Lakshmikant book, but the knowledge is not a very comprehensive to answer this type of question. But in the syllabus we have a clear point the salient feature of Representation of People's Act. So the candidate which are appearing for the mains is expected to cover these type of points, and to cover the syllabus very comprehensively we have to study the other materials also. So the knowledge of M. Lakshmikant is not sufficient. But as we see the election very frequently, the RPA is in news very much. So we can cover as a static portion as well as a current affairs portion. But as this question come from the direct point of our syllabus, so we can classify this question as a easy one. The next question is, to what extent, in your opinion, has the decentralization of power in India changed the governance landscape at the grassroots? Again, the knowledge of the Indian polity by M. Lakshmikant is not sufficient to analyze this type of question. But to introduce, we can use the knowledge of that book, like the 73rd Constitutional Amendment or 74th Constitutional Amendment gave constitutional status to local governments. But for the analysis, we require much more knowledge. But in the syllabus point of view, there is a mention the devolution of power and finances up to local level. So we are expected to cover the devolution and finances. But as we do not have a comprehensive source to answer this type of question, so we can categorize this question as a medium one. And this is not a current affairs topic, but we can use the some schemes from current affairs to analyze it more comprehensively, this type of question. The next question is, while the national political parties in India favor centralization and regional political parties are in favor of state autonomy. Comment. As we see some statement by the political leaders to regarding the GST collection or the regarding the more state autonomy. So this question asked from that point of view, and we recently also seen the such statement by the leaders of our country. And in the syllabus point of view, there is a mention of the issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure. So to answer this type of question, we require the knowledge of this topic. And as no one source is more comprehensively cover this type of question, so we can classify this question as a difficult one. And as we require both type of knowledge from current affairs as well as a static one. Next question is, the most significant achievement of modern law in India is the constitutionalization of environmental problems by the Supreme Court. Discuss the statement with the help of relevant case laws. This question is most tricky one, but in the news we have seen the various problems of the Delhi air pollution or the national highway development in the Uttarakhand, in which our Supreme Court interfered and gave more comprehensive judgments. So this question asked from that point of view. To solve this type of question, we require much more knowledge than the Indian polity by M. Lakshmikant. The M. Lakshmikant book can be useful to introduce this type of question as the relevant article regarding the Supreme Court. But to analyze more comprehensively, we require the static plus current affairs knowledge. From syllabus point of view, there is a mention of the functioning of executive and the judiciary. So we require the much more depth to analyze this type of question with the landmark judgments of our Supreme Courts. In the next video, we will analyze how we can approach the future mains with the minimum effort to cover more comprehensively, and what are the learnings we can get from this paper. Thank you so much.